your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Got a summery feel this weekend. All in all, though, a nice weekend overall, as we're going to be seeing a slight increase in those temperatures and humidity. 89 tomorrow becomes 90 on Sunday, 91 Monday, and even by the start of the week, Tuesday, we're still at 90, and then we'll get some more of those rain chances in here that knock us back down closer to seasonable. That's 83 once we hit the end of the week. Muggy meter, here we go. Even the mornings not quite as crisp, comfortable as they have been earlier in the week last weekend, but it certainly isn't too oppressive. I would say certainly once we get that rain in here Wednesday and Thursday, we'll start to see those dew points over 70, but we've certainly been worse this summer, so we'll just have to put everything in perspective here, but definitely seeing an uptick on that line. And so the maximum heat index, what it's going to feel like in the afternoons, shy of heat advisory criteria, but at most we'll feel low to mid 90s as we hit the beginning of next week, and then taking a bit of a drop on Wednesday as our temperatures will go down as well. Not much to talk about, though, for another day. Again, one random shower forming across portions of Lake and Ashtabula County. That was from the lake breeze. That's long gone. Nothing else happening, though. A lot of the clouds that we have seen beginning to break away. So we're going to be in for a quiet evening, a mostly clear sky overnight, as we still have this quiet pattern with high pressure firmly in control. And it's not going to be over the next few days before we start to see rain. In fact, some of your lawn and gardens may end up going about 2 weeks without rain. So it is a major change from what we saw to end July. August is certainly starting on a dry note. So First Alert Future View, we're keeping it quiet. Dry conditions for Tri-CLE on Sunday. The morning will be humid to start and will warm up to near 90 in the afternoon. By Tuesday, notice pretty quiet to start the day. I don't want to rule out an isolated shower or storm, especially later in the day. But right now, Wednesday, as a front slides in and then stalls out, we'll have some scattered showers, some thunderstorms out there. Same idea on Thursday and then on Friday. Right now, the latest data coming in saying we could see a little bit of these showers lingering a little bit longer out there. So we'll continue to monitor that. But until then, we are in this quiet pattern. So for tonight, 68 degrees, breeze out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour, a muggier feel for sure. Mostly clear sky, though, good viewing for the full moon this month. And then for tomorrow, 89. So it's a hot and humid feel with a breeze around 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the south to southeast. So First Alert 7-day, here we go, heating up this weekend, but we're staying dry. I'll put an isolated storm chance in on Tuesday, but I would say best chances are Wednesday and Thursday, scattered storms. A couple of storms may linger into Friday. We're cooling down. And right now, look at your double weekend forecast, drier conditions and staying just a few degrees above our seasonable high, which is 83. We'll be into the mid 80s there. But we have been talking about